Last night you fell asleep. You know this because you woke up, but you have no idea when it happened. No memory of the moment, no memory of the transition. One second you were awake thinking about your day, and the next second hours had vanished. Where did you go? This happens to you every single night of your life, thousands of times. And yet almost nobody stops to ask why the brain refuses to record its own shutdown. You would think something this important would come with a memory, a closing scene, a fade to black you could actually witness. Instead, you get nothing, a gap, a jump cut in the movie of your life that you never notice because you're not there to notice it. So what is actually happening inside your skull in that missing moment? The answer involves a chemical clock, a light-sensitive switch buried deep in your eyes, and a decision your brain makes without asking your permission. Let's start with what you feel. You lie down. Your eyes get heavy. Thoughts start to drift, less like sentences and more like loose images bumping into each other. This drifting has a name. Researchers call it hypnagogia, the transitional state between wakefulness and sleep. It's the same state that produces those strange floating thoughts, the sudden jerk of your body that sometimes yanks you back awake, and occasionally brief flashes of dreamlike imagery that don't make sense yet don't feel random either. Here's the strange part. Hypnagogia is not sleep. It's not full wakefulness either. It's a third state your brain slides through on the way down, and your ability to remember things starts breaking apart before you've technically lost consciousness at all. Why would memory fail before sleep even begins? The answer lives in a part of your brain called the hippocampus. Think of the hippocampus as a recording device, constantly saving the experience of being you into short-term memory so it can later decide what's worth keeping. But the hippocampus needs a certain level of alert, active brain function to record properly. As you drift towards sleep, the neurochemical environment shifts. A molecule called adenosine has been quietly building up in your brain all day, ever since you woke up this morning. The longer you're awake, the more adenosine accumulates and the more it presses down on the neurons that keep you alert. This is sometimes called sleep pressure, and when it finally reaches a tipping point, the brain's arousal systems lose their grip, almost like a dimmer switch slowly turning down the lights, except the dimming doesn't happen gradually enough for you to catch it in real time. At the same time, a cluster of neurons near the base of your brain called the ventrolateral preoptic nucleus starts firing more intensely. Neuroscientist Clifford Saper, who has spent decades studying the neural switches behind sleep, described this region as functioning like a switch that flips your brain from one state to another rather than a dial that eases you down smoothly. It's called the flip-flop switch model of sleep, and it explains why falling asleep doesn't feel like gradually fading. It feels like nothing at all because your brain isn't easing you out, it's flipping you off. And once that switch flips, memory formation essentially halts. The hippocampus stops laying down new recordings, not because time stopped, but because the device that would have recorded the moment was already turned off before the moment arrived. This is why you can never catch yourself falling asleep, no matter how hard you try. You are trying to use a system to observe its own shutdown. It's like trying to watch yourself blink using only your eyes. There's a deeper reason your brain might work this way, and it has nothing to do with laziness or bad memory. It has to do with survival. For most of human history, sleep was not a peaceful, controlled event. It happened in the open, near fire, near predators, in shared spaces with other members of your group. A brain that spent energy meticulously recording the fine details of drifting into unconsciousness would be wasting resources on a state that offered zero survival value. What mattered was not remembering the drift. What mattered was waking up fast and alert if something went wrong. Evolutionary biologists studying sleep architecture across species have noted that many animals show a similar pattern: brief transitional states with reduced awareness, followed by deeper unconscious phases the brain treats as functionally separate from waking memory. Your brain isn't broken. It's following an ancient blueprint that never needed to remember the door closing, only what happens after it opens again. But here's the twist that makes this even stranger. Even though you don't remember falling asleep, your brain doesn't go silent. Some of your most vivid mental activity happens in exactly this window. Researcher Tore Nielsen, who studies the neuroscience of dreaming, has documented how hypnagogic imagery, those strange dreamlike fragments right before sleep, can include entire micro-narratives, sounds, even conversations that feel completely real in the moment. Your brain is still working, still generating experience. It's simply choosing not to file any of it away, which means the version of you that exists in that gap between waking and sleeping is a version that thinks, perceives, and reacts, but leaves no trace behind. A ghost self that lives for a few minutes every night and then is erased before morning. Think about what that means. There is a you that experiences the world differently every single night, and that you is functionally unrecoverable, not hidden, not suppressed, simply never recorded in the first place. This reframes something you've probably never questioned. You assume memory is a continuous thread, an unbroken chain connecting every moment of your life. But it isn't. It has gaps built into its architecture on purpose. And one of those gaps happens every single night, right on schedule, whether you notice it or not. The next time you lie down and feel your thoughts start to blur, know what's actually happening. Your hippocampus is preparing to power down. Adenosine is winning its long battle against your alertness, and somewhere in your brainstem a switch is about to flip, closing the recording booth before the show even starts. You will never see it happen. You were never meant to. And tonight, once again, you will fall asleep. You will have no memory of the moment it happened.